And welcome. And here we are in the centre of Wednesbury at the Spoons. We've got Lee from Veritas Winter, who you all know, and we got Phil,
hello,
who features all over the place. And on occasion, we do talks together. So, welcome. We've just decided to meet up for general banter and catching up, and we thought we'd do a little talk and see how we go, what we've got to come up with. So, I shall kick off with just a few thoughts. Things that a lot's been going on, isn't there?
Not off.
Over the months, a lot has been taking place, and some things we just feel inclined to comment on. They stick in our minds. Now, I was so many times travelling back from work with Gav. I talked to him about different things, and he says he took his family to a stately home. They often go there, and there was this big lorry parked up outside, and it had on the side, first of all, it had an orange flashing light, right? And it had written on the side of the van, now get this, Climate Emergency Services, right? Cooking Oil Recovery Team, Climate Emergency Service, Oil, Grease and Fat. Now, have you seen these?
Yeah.
I've
seen environment ones,
Right.
Called the cops, we've got a full fryer. Yeah.
Now, the question, of course, is not this a classic example of pushing the agenda of climate change?
Yeah, of course it is.
A classic example to make it appear with the orange flashing light, like people are going to die unless they get there and take away and deal with this grease and fat, which raises the question, what did they do with it in restaurants and cafes all over the country years ago? What did they do with the grease and fat?
Tip it down the drain.
They do use it in vehicles and stuff.
It is used. Can recycle it for a few years in the 60s and that, they just tip it down the sink. Yeah. Tip it down the drain.
So, what an example of pushing an agenda to make it a bit of fear, and we're there. We're we've got to get there and deal with this.
Put the flashing
lights on. That's the thing.
I'm drinking pop, by the way. I've stopped drinking alcohol.
I've just had a cup of tea.
Don't believe anything.
My glass of coke, it's poisoning itself, but it's propping my phone up. So
I'm propping the camera up, so I can't even grab more there.
Let's bring it over for you. There we go. So, did you want to mix up something? I've got other things to talk about.
We just met up, and I didn't think we was going to do a video. Anything you like.
Take the opportunity.
I think that the climate emergency in this vehicle is all linked to electric cars as well. It's all related.
I was talking about that earlier on. I mean, what was on about with the electric vehicles is you've got huge incentives now for people to have them. And why would you give somebody an incentive? If the thing was any bloody good, it should sell itself. Really, And they did this with diesels. They got everybody to have diesels because of all these benefits.
And now they've reversed the prices.
And then they screwed them. Once they trapped them and baited them and got them in, they screwed. And I think they're going to do the same with electric.
Yeah, they will.
Once everybody's, well, not everybody, but once there's a critical mass of people relying on electric power, your electricity bill's going to go through the roof, as if it ain't already.
And your house, and when it catches fire. I think they've already cut them out once already. It was free. Is it free road tax at first or something when you had an EV, and now there is a tax on it.
Yeah, of course they are.
So they will increase it.
Wow. Yeah.
Can you remember when we was in Oxford against that 15-minute cities proposal, which has been slipped in 3 years later on? And there was a chap, I don't know his name, we met him, he's a lovely fellow, he's got his own channel on it called Bolshevist. Well, he did, do you remember him, chap with a beard? Anyway, he was a nice chap, he had a bit of a talk with us for 10 minutes. And he's got a channel, but he was on about taxes, what we're paying, and really, when you I I mean, we know we've been fleeced, but when you actually break it down and stop exactly how much of your income, what you're being taxed on, it's just unreal.
Yeah.
You're paying well more than half of what you. The government's getting more than half what you're earning. You know,
because you're taxed on everything else as well as your wages, everything.
Places around the world, they'd burn the place down if they paid more than 10%, wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
It's all there's no contract either. If you think about all of it, council tax. None of us are in a contract with it. They send you a bill, which is a begging letter. It's a begging letter.
Yeah.
It's not actually something you've got to pay. You haven't signed a contract with them, nor your gas or electric.
Yeah, I know.
You haven't signed anything with them. They're asking you, can you pay
I'm assuming
£1,200
that you accept it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, changing the subject on that one, something else I've got written down here is now assisted dying came in talking about it a few months back in Jersey.
Yeah.
And I've been interested in Jersey at the minute because I've been doing research for a talk on the Bergerac series, and I found some very interesting things, and this is going to be an in-depth talk for the future. I've got 3/4 of it down in my mind and written down of what I want to say, but I've still got bits to find out on it and finish that talk. So I've been looking at Jersey, and my ears pricked up when on the radio Esther Ransom came on to talk about assisted dying in Jersey being introduced. And she was the one who said we should all have been forcefully during the nonsense of 2020. So if she had a new TV series, maybe it shouldn't be called That's Life, it should be called That's Death.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Talking about people who suggested that we should all be forced jabbed, and Dolly Parton has had to give up her residency in Las Vegas because remember, she was one of the loudest voices when it come to trying to get everybody to get jabbed up.
Yeah, she was in the sun as well.
Which is a treatment which is known to screw your immune system.
Yes.
So has had to give up a residency in Vegas because her immune system screwed up.
She must be getting on now herself. She's got to be in her 80s.
She might not have had the jabs, but I'm just saying it's a treatment which is known amongst clotting and heart attacks and pericarditis, myocarditis. You know, the immune system problems is one of the things it's known for. So now I was shoving it, and now we're suffering from immune system.
Even if she
may or may not be connected. I don't know.
Yeah, well, even if she didn't, I think it's a bit of karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Great Bridge a number of months back. Jane had to go for an appointment, and that was the only surgery we could get to for seeing a doctor. So they sent us off there. Anyway, during being there and waiting to be seen on the big TV colour screens, they were pushing big time. Can we say the word these days?
I think so, yeah. I've been saying it a few times.
The jib jab, you know what I mean? For other things, they were pushing them for colds, for flu, for shingles, and on the doors of the doctors it had in big letters, keep everyone well, please wear a face mask. And then this came through the door some time back as well. I kept it for this particular talk whenever it cropped up, and it was, I'll show this to there you are, you see, look at that, they're pushing it.
That's fine.
You can see that, and you can see exactly what they're telling you. They're still pushing it all the time.
It's the business model,
get such and such and help protect what matters most.
I thought that might have been pictures of the people who took it and vacated as well. And while I was talking on Bergerac, I'll just come to another TV series. Now, you grow up watching the professionals, didn't you? You like that, and it was a very action, adventure packed, interesting.
It's had a big impact on me, especially when I jumped off my mum's outhouse thinking I was bowling and bust my ankles.
Well,
and you're cracking up 4 cars on it.
Now I'm reading at the minute, I'm going through, for those who are familiar with Dom and Chris Waterson
Bah.
Sheep Farm Studios on YouTube. Dom has done this book, a big thick book, on wouldn't it be great to know the background of the politicians that ran the COVID-19 pandemic, traitors. And from the beginning, I resonate with this so strongly because I often refer to them all, those who stood on the stage, you know, the usual suspects, as treacherous, treasonable traitors. I even had placards walking down the street all over. But anyway, in the book on page 94, Dom says he does a little bit on Paddy Ashdown's connections to various things. I'll read it briefly just as it is. Now he says Paddy Ashdown, Acker, this was his real name, Jeremy John Durham Ashdown, Baron Ashdown of Norton Subhampton. Now Paddy Asphalt, sorry I can't help myself, he says, Ashdown, who, as well as resurfacing drives for cash as a cover, was also a British Marine and member of the ultra-elite Special Boat Services, the SBS. Asphalt, oops, still can't help myself, childish I know, but it puts a smile on my face when I'm alone writing this in my bunker, left the Royal Marines, SBC, to join the secret intelligence service, MI6, and using diplomatic cover worked for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office as First Secretary to the United Kingdom mission to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. He was also President of Chatham House, Tavistock from 2005 to 15, whilst leader of the Liberal Party attended the 1989 Bilderberg meeting. Now, this is the connection with Lewis Collins from The Professionals. Now look, Baron Asphalt's story reminds me of the Lewis Collins story, who auditioned for the drummer in the Beatles.
He was in the Mojos.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah. Collins was a black belt in jiu-jitsu and karate, and one of the main actors in the MI5 TV show, The Professionals. Who could forget the souped-up 70s Ford Escort and Ford Capri?
Granadas, yeah.
Collins was a private in the 10th Battalion Parachute Regiment of the British Army, a territorial army unit from 1979 to 1983. Collins passed the initial selection stages for the Territorial Unit 21 of the SAS, who told him he couldn't join because he was too famous. Collins held a private pilot's licence, and his hobbies included parachuting, motorbikes, collecting firearms and sport shooting. He also auditioned for James Bond, only to be told he was too aggressive. He also played an SAS captain in the film Who Dares Wins, which was about terrorists funded by the upper echelons of the British power and a wealthy Arab. But that was just a film and not real life. I thought, did you know some of these?
Yeah.
I know about the SAS and the drummer. He was one of many drummers for the Beatles.
Yeah.
But that's
I
another
didn't
story.
know any of that.
I was
Until
in
you
the
look into it.
SCS.
Yeah.
Sofas and beds feed me.
Very good.
Yeah,
Phil, have you got anything that struck you in these days that you just wanted to unload off on the poor
Oh, we should
people
have told me.
watching this?
I wish you'd have told me. I'd have come prepped with 1,000 things.
I would have as well.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't think. Put me on the spot.
Well, I mean, we generally comment on.
Have you done one about the like a robot in Morrison's?
Well,
I spotted one yesterday. Where did I go?
I may have commented on it. Did I comment on this with you? I mean, on one of our tours recently. Did I comment on it?
Yeah, we
I didn't see it today, but the last few weeks, little CP3Os come round the corner and blocks your oil. You can't get past it. So it just sits there.
You don't know what to do, does it?
And I don't think it's actually. If you look, it's what this is. It's about the size of a shopping trolley.
It's sort of waist height.
Yeah,
it's quite
wide and long,
and it's got sensors on it, and
it
just
goes up and down the aisles.
Down.
It's got a massive camera on the front. If you have a look at it, an all-seeing eye, just one big one, And I don't think it's actually sweeping or doing nothing if you look at it. It's hardly doing anything.
No, it's doing nothing.
I think it's recording people who are in there.
Yeah. And it's I plugged into the yogurt here to play an hologram of Princess Leia asking for help. So I don't know what else it does.
Yeah, so that's we're going on.
These things, we'll see more of these in the days ahead. We generally comment, amongst many things, on how society is changing in people's attitudes and behaviour, possibly due to this.
Yeah.
So.
On the phone.
I saw one with Jane walking down West Brom High Street towards the market area, and there was a blind man coming across the road with a person helping, leading, and suddenly from nowhere this young man, all in with the black garb and the black hood and the black mask, he was doing wheelies, flying down the road, and at great speed, and now had he hit either of them people, they would have been seriously injured or dead. And he just flew like a bat out of hell. And I thought, and he suddenly just swerved around the blind man and shot off on his way. And it was like watching something from a Buster Keaton silent, just the bizarreness of it. What could have been total disaster just went around it.
That's the same as these scooters and electric bikes, are it?
Yeah, they appear from nowhere and you don't hear them and they're just whizzing.
Yeah.
And sometimes with big guys on them.
Yeah.
Do 30 miles an hour down the footpath.
It's I'm very surprised nothing's been done. I mean, what can they do? But
police are interesting.
Nah.
So, can you see what time it says? The sun's shining now. I mean,
17 minutes.
And we've been.
It's only going to be coming up to 20 minutes.
Okay, that ain't too bad, is it? Well, feel free just to comment. I've said a few bits.
Well, I was just going to add about these people on these electric scooters and bikes. They're all dressed the same.
Yeah.
Black joggers.
Yeah.
Cheap crap black trainers, market trainers, black hoodie, black puffer jacket.
Is it black?
Either the hoodie's up, they've always got a black face covering.
Yeah.
Always, every town, all the same.
Yeah.
Skinny white kids or half castes, all dressed the same.
Have you seen the single wheel ones?
Bombing around. Yeah, I've seen them as well.
When they're standing on it.
I'm a bloody nuisance. Those people walking down the pavements and they're just using the things and belting down the pavements, and like Marty says, joking on one side if they did hit somebody, but that's an hospital job at the very least.
Easily.
You know what I mean?
Easily.
I know we did soft things when we had motorbikes when we was teenagers, but we was taxed to issue their MOT licence, got helmets.
Have you? I mean, we all hear it on certain news websites, perhaps, or people talk about it. Have you actually seen for yourself an EV or a scooter or a bike on fire?
No, I haven't. Thinking about it now.
I haven't myself. But somebody I know at our care says it quite often when she's going down the motorway.
Yeah.
Where there's an EV that's on fire and it causes a complete nightmare because they can't assist it.
No, it's got to let it burn itself.
The fire engines will come to it and the police, they cut off all the lanes in the motorway, but they've just got to let it go.
Yeah. Does it
really
feed
toxic
itself?
and it
Okay.
Yeah. So it's utter chaos when one of them goes up. You hear stories of these scooters. They keep them in their houses, obviously, and they're charging them in the houses, and their house catches fire. I mean, there was a fire the other day over towards where I work in a 8-storey, I think, 21-storey block of flats. It was about halfway, absolutely even out of black smoke.
Probably right.
I'm just wondering if they've got an electric scooter in there.
Yeah, charge. You wouldn't leave it in the fire. It wouldn't be there 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You take something flat near.
Yeah.
And the on about the roads, two things. Number one is the sheer aggression.
Oh yeah.
Just like the rage and aggression everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
It's getting me down, man.
Nah,
it's wearing me out.
I'm a pedestrian, but I notice it a lot because of watching the roads.
It's things nothing to do with me. I'm just observing. You know, you got that, and you got people on foot as well, not just in cars.
Yeah.
But they've lost all spatial awareness. They don't know what the hell's going on around them.
Yeah.
They're just in a complete tiny little bubble,
Yeah.
and they don't know what's within 5 or 10 feet of them.
Yeah.
And yet them in a vehicle. That's scary.
Well, I mean, we've done the bus talk on it, and that, I mean, that was like last year, and done the one about the bus and things like that, and the mobile phone, and all it's like.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a year ago. I think it's actually progressed from there. It's got worse in the space of a year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is another one, yeah. Get this. We did the talk on the mobile phones.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Otherwise engaged. Yeah.
Mobile phone addiction.
Yeah, that's it.
Or otherwise engaged.
Yeah.
Okay. Very important talk. People are addicted. Now, I was coming back from work. This is just recently, and I'm at Narborough train station, which is near to Leicester, and I'm sitting waiting for the train to Birmingham New Street. And as I look, I'm sitting in a little shelter there, 3 seats, roof on, and I'm just looking at the road. There's a main road you can see, and when the trains come, the barrier comes down making the noise. Okay, so it's begin making the noise, and 2 young people have ran across. They've got through before it comes down. Another man was hesitant. He went like this and that, and then decided to go for it and ran across. But one woman was on a phone. She was talking, middle-aged woman, and she stopped, engrossed in a conversation, and it's coming down on her head. Right, it's coming down, and so she's become suddenly aware something is bearing down on her, maybe a shadow on the floor or something, and she looks up like that and jumps not onto the roadside but into the rail side. Right.
Wow.
She pauses and then becomes panicked a bit that she's trapped now.
Yeah.
Although it's still, I think they must have sensors, because it was still making a noise, and the other, it wasn't properly coming down. It had come down and she was trapped, but there was a way she could walk to the edge and keep walking and then come in slightly into safety. And she eventually did that. But the point was, you're crossing, it's a railway crossing, and it's making a noise, and it's coming down on her head, and she's still talking and stopped. Now, it's not this addiction.
She can't even hear the noise.
No.
It's blanked out.
Hypnotised.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So anyway, the sun's coming out. We thought it may even
It was drizzling earlier, but it was coming out.
rain a bit, but
took me mum shopping.
so anyway, shall we leave it there, do you think? Should we leave it
we'll
there
do
now?
it a bit more prepared next time.
For those new on Lee's channel, I crop up and Phil crops up now and then. I'm on Marty Bucko, Marty Gap Bucko. That's my YouTube channel. Phil appears and Lee appears quite frequently. So and we've all, obviously we know Lee from long standing during the scamdemic. So
No, just saying, talking about YouTube channels in general.
yeah.
Right, 5 or 6 years ago, we went through a period where the system didn't want you talking about certain things, and in order to stop you from doing it censored you or shadow banned. So we had to talk in code, so that if you was a regular, you knew what we was talking about. If you are a regular, you think, what the hell are they on about?
Who can forget those ice cream vans?
Yeah, but it was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering, that in that particular subject, they've took the foot off the gas in a way, so you can say these keywords now without fear of being censored. But what's the next thing? So there's going to reach a point where I'm going to do a video talking about stuff that's going on, and that's going to be banned because it'll be touchy. They don't want people in general talking about it.
We'll end
ignore
up
that.
like We'll
I think-
end up like the Marx Brothers, where
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing a sketch. You know, to understand this, you've got to buy this book from there. You know, and then you get this book to understand that one.
Because even
There's
now,
so much
with,
code.
with comments, I notice even comments I leave myself on my own videos as responses and replies, and videos that I watch, the censorship, the figures are weird. Right, they'll just be absolutely static for months, and then they'll either leap or drop.
Yeah,
So that's not natural.
yeah.
You know, it should ebb and flow, shouldn't it?
Course it
All
would.
rise and get out.
I think the one of
It's
light.
been monkeyed with, that's what I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah. I think of light. I think the ones that they're censoring, or you've got to be careful with what words you use, are to do with like
Dinghies.
a flock dinghies,
Oh.
a flock of seagulls, Iran, and something like Israel. You've got to be careful there you say that, because I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep in distractions about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So, we'll end it there then, and wish everyone good health, and we'll see you again, God willing.
Yeah. God bless.
Okay, God bless.